I suffered from 3 different eating disorders: anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder. 30 million Americans that suffer from an eating disorder at some point in their lifetime. It was a really hard thing, and for more than 10 years, I suffered. You have to lead with your heart. Your heart and your brain are like 12 inches apart. Let your heart infuse your brain with the right decisions, and that will lead you in the right spot.
What is going on, everyone? Thank you guys so much for joining me on the CAREpreneur Show. I got a very, very special guest, but first, before I introduce her, and trust me, this is an extremely special guest. Once in a lifetime, I will probably be flying her jet at some time in the near future. But before I introduce her, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show some love, give a little love to the channel. To all the other fellow carepreneurs out there, welcome, Kaitlyn Chana, a recent UNF grad of the master's program for healthcare administration.
Yes, and I'm also your sister.
You are my sister.
Hello.
How did I forget the most important part of the intro?
Wow.
The one and only
People are trying to make the connection. Like
I was just, I was so proud of you because you are like the only person that's like graduated from a master's program in college in our family.
That is not true. We have other people that have gotten their doctorate's degree, but it is honestly, I mean, right? Like for the last 3 years, we've talked about it. My head has always been in the book. I've been typing a lot of essays and many books, finance, accounting. What are you talking about? HR, compliance.
Did you come out of the book?
Oh, I don't know. Wait, I don't know. No, my head was in the book. And then finally, yes. I mean, usually now I wear glasses just because I'm always like, ugh, right there. The book's like, can't see.
You also have like 5 whiteboards in your room, but I am super proud of you. I'm really excited for what you're doing. And for those that may not know, she started out in the journalism side of things, which we'll get into in a second. And now you're headed to a really cool place. Actually, you know what? Let's just back this whole thing up. How about you?
Yeah.
Instead of me ruining and spilling all the beans, why don't you share your story of how you went from journalism, being a reporter,
correct,
in probably like the worst place possible, Bangor, Maine.
Oh no! First off, we have to stop there. I thoroughly loved Bangor, Maine. I look forward to talking about that because just
you and the 3 other people there.
Oh, no. It's such a beautiful community. I mean, you had a lot of blue collar workers. I got to learn more about like Millinocket and Bar Harbor, which they call Baja Haba.
Do people live there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I got to learn about paper mills and how to make paper. And then more importantly, they had the Can-Am, which is the qualifying race for the Iditarod, which like to me, I was like giddy. So I loved my time in Bangor, Maine.
So you were like the one person that loves Bangor.
No.
I'm just kidding. I know there's a lot of people that there's like 10 really good supporters.
One of the big differences between Christopher and I is he loves the beach. I love the mountain. I love things that's
freezing cold. Are there mountains in Maine?
Yeah, there's a lot of mountains. Okay. There's great skiing weather.
So no, I don't get off topic, but the reality of it is that you started there.
Yes.
And you were there for I don't know how many years.
2 years and then transitioned to Jacksonville.
But the crazy part is when you were doing that, you did everything. Like you were the person that was, doing the
one-man band.
Like you held the camera, you interviewed yourself. Like
I would go live by myself, have no assistants.
Yeah.
So I think to back it up, right? So since I was knee high, I always wanted to be a storyteller, and I fell in love with Diane Sawyer. You probably remember it. Me always watching Good Morning America before going to like middle school or off to school, loving Charlie Gibson.
Just if you guys, just in case you guys are doing this, don't watch this on 1.5 speed. Watch this on 1 speed, so you can understand what she's saying.
Sorry, I've always had.
No, go ahead. I lost you. I did it right. Diane Sawyer got it.
Yes, I've always been a fast talker. So basically, to transition. When I was in middle school, fell in love, was at the time the anchor for Good Morning Rock Lake, and fell in love with that role just because I knew all the information of like, where was this type of meeting, where was the committee going to meet for whatever, if it was a volunteer event. And from there, I got to share those resources with other students. And so when I'm walking down the hall, they're like, what room is the math mathathon in, I'm going to be like, oh, it was room B120. And from there, I was like, I want to be a journalist. I want to have the knowledge, the resources, be able to interview the right people and be able to share that information. So that's why I went into journalism, went to the University of Central Florida, graduated with my bachelor's in journalism, fell in love with storytelling, worked in a variety of different states, Illinois, New York City, then went to Bangor, Maine for 2 years, was the multimedia journalist, then came to Jacksonville.
So what brought you to Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville, I wanted to be able to grow within my skill sets. It's in a great market. It helps you.
It's a top 50 market, right?
Yeah, it's a top 50 market. I want to say it's market 47, but don't quote me for sure.
But I know that was a big deal because you're coming from like a
very
small market to like now you actually have like editors
and videographers. Yes, and that was a totally different deal because like I'm transitioning where I'm shooting, writing, editing all my stuff, whether it was in the car or trying to find a coffee shop, and then going live by myself in Bangor, Maine, and then transitioning to being in Jacksonville and having a partner, in a sense, like a teammate who we went to every story together. We covered more content. I was interviewing like 8 people a day. So it's like burn and churn, I call it.
You're in Jacksonville now.
I'm in Jacksonville, and I covered a variety of different,
But how do you go from Jacksonville to healthcare? Like what inspired that leap? I mean, that's a big change.
That's a dramatic transition, but I think it always goes back to my roots, right? Before I even got into storytelling and how I fell in love with journalism. Oh no, it was through love letters. Remember, I used to make homemade cards for children with life-threatening illnesses through my nonprofit called Love Letters, Random Cards of Kindness.
Yes,
and those were the days.
There was like mom had an entire storage unit of your love letters.
Yes. And it was like Christmas every day, right? Like all these packages would come in where people made these beautiful homemade cards that said like sending you a great big hug, you shine like a
Hallmark
star.
Should take note because these cards were unreal.
It was just incredible. I mean, we had thousands of volunteers making these cards and sending them to myself, and then we would distribute them throughout the state of Florida. So give kids a world.
What was the purpose of the cards?
Yeah, it was to just hopefully inspire and help maybe during that transition of when someone's really sick as a sick child, you don't have any normalcy, but it was to brighten up their day, to make them feel better. And so for myself, like I love going to the pediatric oncology units because at the different hospitals, I got to see the kids light up when I would come in wearing all red because everyone knew me as the red lady. And then love letters, the logo was red. And then I'd have a red card with usually a red envelope. And the child life specialist would help me identify which card best matches that child's personality. And they would get it before or after surgery, along with a tangible object, meaning like a toy of some sort. So whether it was a teddy bear or something to, color with, their faces lit up. And that to me was the stories that I wanted to see on the 5 o'clock news. So that led me into journalism, was seeing those stories. Those are the stories that are missed opportunities in local news that you don't get to see only usually around the holiday times, or it's always in the C block, just a news station of when they tell those types of stories. And I wanted that to be a part of the A block, and so I was going to change
didn't want to talk about murders and suicides and all this like terrible stuff. Like
no, I mean, and then when I moved into the market,
because that's kind of the focus in news, right?
Correct, but I wanted to be a change agent. Like I want to be the person, and when I look at someone like Diane Sawyer, I always felt like I was having a cup of coffee with her, and she was there to create change and empower and equip people with the right knowledge to make better decisions for themselves and their families. And that's the type of journalist I wanted to be. When I was in news, I felt like I was capped and my wings were maybe clipped in a little bit of different areas because I did cover a lot of murders, homicides, assaults.
So what was the craziest story that you covered?
Oh, Christopher. I think there's so many. I mean,
what was the one that made you go, I'm done with this?
I think there was a time when, it's really hard when you lose a loved one. And at the time, we got an incident that there was a shooting that took place, and there was a mother and grandmother waiting to hear the news. And the officer came over and shared with them that their loved one, which would be the mother's son, was killed in their home. And she is bawling hysterically, and my heart aches for her. And I always say I'm a human first before I'm a journalist or any type of reporter. And when she fell to the ground, I fell to the ground. And like hearing her weep and scream, it impacted me because in my ear, in my IFB is what we call it, but in my ear, I hear my producer saying, you have 30 seconds before you're going live. and to then try to readjust your brain to explain the situation as they're experiencing trauma and going through this. It was just such a horrific experience. I just wanted to hug the woman, even though I didn't know her. I just wanted to hug her. But instead, I'm standing next to her, sharing her experience with other people when I didn't feel like it was the right time. And for me, I didn't want to be a part of that because I'm the person that is more of probably a caretaker, and I wanted to be able to help prevent situations like that. And I really believe if you're able to invest in the community, you're able to provide better resources, stronger education, getting them the right medical and healthcare related needs, meaning the community as a whole, we could flourish and be able to go on a different trajectory. So with that being said, when I was first introduced to healthcare was really like Jacksonville is a medical hub. You have multiple different healthcare organizations there, not only just, outpatient and hospitals, but you also have your insurances, your payers there. And at the time, Mayo Clinic did a journalism residency program, and I went to Rochester and Scottsdale, Arizona, and I got to spend a lot of time with their doctors learning how to kind of leverage quantitative data in a qualitative format on the business side. And I fell in love with that type of care, meaning that you're wanting to provide more preventative care, you're giving measures, you're actually moving the community in a forward direction instead of, I felt like, in a backward direction where I was in my position as a reporter.
Yeah. So with the when you went to that conference, was that a point in time where you decided to make that decision? Like, obviously the event that you described was the time where you decided this is maybe not for me, but when did you decide that you wanted to go into healthcare administration?
Yeah. So I think when I was first exposed at the journalism residency program that was through Mayo Clinic, I think my first time my brain opened up.
You can't say exposure now in healthcare settings.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean it in that type of sense.
You might have to go in quarantine for 5 days now.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just wanted to say, when I was maybe just showcased a whole variety of different, operations and business and finance and understanding how to keep the lights on, but we're paying our doctors and our physicians and all our medical staff members, so EVS and our cooks, all that interests me. But a lot of it was just time with doctors and spending time of learning, what is their strengths and what is my strengths? Where would I be able to complement
But I'm saying,
them?
were you hey, I want to be a healthcare admin?
No. So that's so during my time as a journalist, I would say that's when I came back from Mayo Clinic, the residency program, trying to figure out my life. I'm just I don't want to be here.
Yeah, you're frustrated. I'm all right, I spent my whole life.
This is what I
going to to school for this, and this is what I but I'm not happy here anymore.
I had this calling, and it just felt like I'm supposed to pull away from news, and I'm going to go in a different direction. And at the time, for a year, I worked with a psychiatrist because mental health and behavioral health is really important to myself. And so I worked with him. And so on my 2 days off, I would job shadow with him. And at the time, I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to go to MD or DO route, or if I wanted to go into health administration. And I loved working with him and his staff to be able to get exposure to, oops, I used that word again.
Hey, you caught yourself.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I'm just very concerned about you. We're very different.
I beg to differ. I think we're exactly the same.
We're very different.
You have some weird mannerisms. Dre was pointing them out earlier.
Dre would be
Dre?
on my team.
No, Dre's on my team. Take us back. Okay, so
I don't even know where we were at.
Well, we were on a journey of you figuring out that news was not for you. And we're trying to figure out how the plane got to.
Yes. Okay. So with Doctor, at the
I didn't
time,
finish.
yeah.
How do you know?
Oh,
see, look, we're alike.
My memory was hello.
We're alike. See, we're alike. You can read my thoughts.
Oh my. No, at the time when I was working with this doctor in particular, I actually laid out a plan. I was I really enjoy more of just the operation side.
For his practice?
For his practice. And also we laid out a plan as to if I go to medical school or if I want to be a doctor. And at the time, I spent some time scheduling some surgeries to opt in on to be able to see whether or not that's the route. But after they cauterized a person, I almost passed out twice in the operating room.
So all right, surgery's out.
I was no, thank you.
Doctor's out, surgery's out. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
And what I always went back to was my why. Why am I here? What is my reasoning?
In Jacksonville or Bangor, Maine? Or life?
Just in life.
Okay.
And so it went back to pediatrics. I started there with love letters. Seeing the kids smile brings my heart so much warmth and happiness.
Did seeing geriatrics today make you smile?
Yes. I mean, I love some of the people that I met. I love David taught me how to do the swimming. Like, I don't dance. So like, I feel like the shopping cart.
I mean, David dances like you. Like,
well, he was teaching.
like,
he was like showing me how to swim, and I even told David, I don't do this. I don't do that. Like, I don't dance. I don't do like this thing. I can't do
but
that.
I feel like your form of dancing, whatever you want to call it.
Oh.
No, it was very similar to David's. Like it was.
Well, David
like
was
I felt like
encouraging
you guys were like literally just two peas in a pod.
Yeah. Well, he was encouraging me, and I was like, "Thank you." It's too much. Like, I don't dance. That's not my thing.
I think there's a soft spot in there for geriatrics.
Yes,
Anyways,
but I love
one of these days I would
pediatrics.
love for you to come and help us out.
Oh, well,
Make us professional.
you are professional. And that's one of the things I enjoyed about our tour today is, right, like I see glimpses and I obviously hear about it, but I don't live in this area and I don't get to see your day-to-day operations and logistics and who your staff is. I see them on videos, but it's very different than meeting them in person. And like that brought me so much joy because their enthusiasm to help with the senior care space is tremendous. And right, like the things when I first walked in, right, like through your doors, all I saw was pictures of you with elderly individuals, and like it just you captured moments, and everyone looks so happy and joyful, and they had this jolly perspective.
That's what we're striving for, but I know that's what you're striving for too, though.
Correct, and mine just happens to be in pediatrics, and yours is in geriatrics.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
I know. One of these days. So you, I mean, so now the pediatrics. So what you're going back to your why?
Yes.
Like your why for life. What is your why?
Yeah. My why is I want to improve the lives of pediatrics and assist in women's health, meaning specifically mental health.
What is your purpose?
My purpose is to serve others.
What are your core values? What's your vision statement?
Yeah.
I feel like the way you answered that, you would have all those written out. Like I'm waiting for you to pull out a cue card or something.
I do in my diary.
You what?
In my diary.
No, can you say it like you did before? Okay.
Sometimes I forget that we're being recorded.
Yeah, we're being recorded. This is live to tape, everyone. Live to tape.
Oh, it's warm in here.
I'm sorry. I love it. So obviously you are very passionate. You have a very strong why, and I just popped my pee. You're very passionate, and you have a very strong why.
Correct.
But
and my why, and like you know this more than anyone because you saw it. Maybe we can flip the table, and I can ask you some questions. But even not yet. Pascal did that. What is this? What's up with this show? This show keeps getting hijacked. Just kidding. Well, so I talked a lot about pediatrics, obviously, but women's health is also really important, specifically mental health, because for myself, and you saw this growing up, but I suffered from 3 different eating disorders, right? So anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder.
It's crazy.
And so you have 30 million Americans that suffer from an eating disorder at some point in their lifetime, and I happen to be one of the statistics, but it was a really hard thing, and for more than 10 years, I suffered from this mental illness. And it was hard to function.
It was hard to be a bystander in that journey, you know, because I think it was just the like you said, the mental health side of it, the emotional turmoil that you were going through on your own. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if that was like a self-confidence thing or if it was like, I don't know, you know, I mean, the hard part is I know a lot of that's like your own thoughts in your mind, being controlled by exterior forces that like you feel like maybe at the time you have no control over or you have no support for.
Correct. The only thing I can control, right, is like the food that I can consume or not consume. So like that was my grounding point is like being around food. And I would say in the sense of like either I can control eating too much of it at some point or not having enough. And for my time in middle school, right, like I was very sick and underweight and not nourished, and like then cognitively you can't make strong or good decisions because you're talking in your brain all the time, and I call it ED, like the voice in my head, which is like the eating disorder, and it says I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not blah blah blah.
When did you say, all right, I'm going to school for healthcare administration, like, and I'm going to pick UNF and I'm going to go through this program?
Yeah. So when I was a reporter making that transition, like I don't want to be in news anymore. Like this is not where I want to be, and this is also not where I see myself in the next 10 years. I took a immediate pause and stopped and was like, what am I going to do?
Right.
So like I felt at that point, I felt like I had a calling or a movement towards administration. How do I get there, and how do I also get prepared to be equipped with the right tools to be able to be an administrator within a healthcare organization? For me, I have always known it's pediatrics. I love children, but I also love women's health issues because I've experienced it myself. So the two are merged together in my sense. When I chose the University of North Florida, the reason why I wanted to go there was I was already in a medical hub. My 2.5 years there as a journalist in that market, I had an incredible wealth of connections within my Rolodex. So I wanted to make sure I stayed in that area so I could leverage, the people that I used to work with as a reporter, but now transition from like a healthcare standpoint and continue to work with them to build connections and contacts for different jobs and different opportunities and internships. So I graduated in December, right, with 2 master's degrees, one within health administration and one within business. And I looked at fellowship opportunities, which is an accelerated program that allows you to get exposure in different areas. But thankfully, like the organization that I picked,
which is
I wasn't going to share yet.
Well, didn't you share online already?
No.
Oh. Well, when is this going to air, Dre? Good time? Yeah, we can. When do you want us to air it?
Well, I haven't signed on the dotted line yet, so I have 7 months to go.
Okay. All right. So, but the reality of it is that you did. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. To finish that thought, so I'm selected a fellowship, which basically allows me to accelerate my career, but also get it great understanding, and I get mentorship.
Because it's like a residency. Like it's like you're a practicing doctor underneath other doctors. But in this case,
it's the administration side.
Yeah, so you're practicing alongside the C level,
the CFO, and the corporate governance team. So for me, my areas of focus will be all the
perfect intel for us. Just bring it back.
No, legally you can't do that.
Face?
No.
Well, no, not
oh
that.
my
No.
goodness. Oh
your
my goodness.
skills. I'm talking your skills.
Oh, okay.
Relax.
Trade practices you cannot do.
We're not.
But
we are our own being. We just need the corporate structure of we need that.
This is why your friends call you cool and hip, and my
call
friends call me granny and old,
I don't
I'm
know.
a little rigid.
I don't have any friends that have called me that.
Follower.
And my friends don't call me that.
Yes, they do.
I've never heard a friend be like, "You're hip, dude," or "You're cool." Doesn't really happen.
I think it does.
Okay. My sister thinks I'm cool, guys. I must be cool.
Oh Lord. Okay.
I'm
turning
cool.
red in here. Okay. So let's get it back on topic.
I'm on topic.
Okay. So to continue,
bring the plane back.
That fellowship, that would actually consist of understanding budgets and finance. More importantly, quality control metrics, operations.
See, all this stuff you're speaking in my language.
Yeah, it's efficiency, understanding Lean Six Sigma, just accelerating in different areas. So I hope to amplify what I've learned in school now in the quote unquote real world at my new location, and be able to serve not only pediatrics, but I'll also get to work with women's health, which for me is a compliment to both, because mental health is the topic of the last 2 years. But I feel like most people don't understand the difference between mental health and mental illness. And when you're diagnosed with a mental illness, or you have various different diagnoses, it is really hard to understand or explain to the layperson who doesn't have any understanding, or maybe can't empathize with someone who has either an eating disorder, or they suffer from depression, or they suffer from anxiety. Those are all major components that impact your life and impair your ability to think.
I agree. I don't even know what to say. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, bro.
No. Honestly, it's cool though, because you are going to be super successful, and I think anyone can see that. And it's cool seeing you go through your own journey and kind of your own, I would say, because a lot to most people, and I think even something I just shared recently, you are a huge success on the outs, people looking at you, right, or watching you, right? I'm saying
I don't view it like that.
No, I know, but that's my point, is that I'm the same way, right? Like some people externally, they think I'm successful, but internally I don't feel
that
right,
way.
right?
Yeah,
So there's a lot of common ground there, but I'm just saying, seeing what you've been able to accomplish, and understanding what it takes to give up on a dream or make a pivot in life.
Mm-hmm.
But can be tough sometimes, because it feels like you're going backwards, and
it
it's
does. And you're not going vertically. At that point I went horizontally and down to go one day vertically. but
it's literally identical. It was just kind of eerie to what I'm going through. Like because in the same way, right? Like we're going backwards to go forward. You know, so I spent 10 years trying to figure out what my purpose was, just like you did.
Yep.
Right. And it's just like, it's a different path, but it's the same process where you're like beating your head against the wall, working your tail off, like working as hard as you probably ever worked in your life, barely getting by, you know, but to, you know, again, to the external world, they would never know that, you know?
No, but every day you're putting all your emphasis on this dream that you know is out there, but you can't feel it or see it, but you can just internally feel it.
Yeah.
And maybe people around you don't get it. And that's what I always say, like, when you go after a dream so passionately, there's going to be some people who are on your train and some people that you're going to put in the other cart. And then some people you're going to drop off at the train station and say, goodbye, adios, amigos.
Am I on your train? Did I make the cut?
Yes, but you know what I mean? Like, you can always come back to that train station and pick them up. But like, you have to figure out what path you're on and what route you want to go. And when you are so passionate and you have this ardent love for this dream, don't let that dream ardent love for that dream. Like, just
did you learn that in your master's program?
No.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just jealous.
Basic, like,
did I get kicked off the
rudimentary word?
Did I get tied to the train now? I feel like I lost my spot on the train. No, seriously. So what is it that is in your mind like a key factor in this whole like journey, right? Like, so what is it that you're thinking like that's like helped you get through times that have been difficult? Like that again, only you might be feeling, but how do you get through that time? How do you overcome those feelings? How do you overcome those thoughts?
I think one is leaning into vulnerability. Naturally, I'm not a vulnerable person, but I have to lean into vulnerability to be able to seek and pursue my passion. So that means that takes a lot of grit, determination, and perseverance. So I always say you strap on your boots and then you pull up your overalls and you get to work. I don't know. That's what I envisioned in my head. Hold
on. Are we on the farm? Are we going to work in healthcare? Like, is this, are we in the,
no, I
the
like
ER?
I like visual aids.
Like, what kind of ER? Is this a rural? Are you going back to Bangor, Maine?
No, that just helps like generate an image in my mind of like, I just, the image I felt in my mind was you like putting on like a female, like admin office suit. Like pulling up in your Mercedes, walking into like the healthcare admin office, and you're like, "Nope, put on a boot, we're getting them overalls on." Like, I don't know what. Welcome to. I was gonna say the hospital name. I can't say that name because I don't want to reveal the secret. But you know, it's very different.
Welcome to pediatric hospital.
I didn't sound like that. Well, Christopher, our family.
That's what you sound when you put on these overalls here.
Our extended family are all farmers, and I think like I feel like I've learned a lot from the farm. And so
from farming okay, I don't know what to believe anymore. Did you get your master's degree, or did you go to the farm? I'm confused. You got your master's in
health and
poultry?
Business. No, poultry and chicken. I got my buck. Okay. You lost it.
No, I'm proud of you.
And he says it like that.
No. I feel like, so like how do you overcome, like what is it, do you practice affirmations?
I do. I practice affirmations in the morning, but then I also give myself challenges. So like, for instance, like, and I say this, like, for me, like, dancing is really hard. Like, that's a vulnerability. But, like, I always try to push the needle a little bit farther. And I call it my 2% in my head. So let me explain that real quick. So every day, if I can push myself by 2%, by the end of the year, look at how far I've gained. But every day, I'm not going to be able to achieve that 2%.
Do you know what kind of annual rate of return that is?
I do not. Or like, well, no, I do not, because like, this is why I don't know that, because every day you're not going to hit 2%. Some days you're going to be 1%, you're going to be a negative 4%, you're going to be at 4%, sometimes you're going to be at 5%, right? So you, like, maybe you track that in your own thing, but for me, it's like little goals of me stretching outside of my comfort zone. So with that being said, so why do I say dancing? Like, for me, it's really hard to dance. So for me, being a little bit more vulnerable, for me to push outside of my comfort zone to connect with David, I was dancing at the adult daycare. That is like very much like, that's how I feel internally when I'm doing that. Like,
that's
I'm
how you
not
looked.
good.
Just like that. I think that's how you and David were dancing.
I felt so nervous because I'm like, I don't know what move to do. Like, I don't have movement like that. Like, I have no.
No, that was perfect. It was perfect.
But like what I say is like each day you find an activity at your whatever. Like, so whatever I'm nervous about or I have a fear of, instead of walking away from the fear, I lean into the fear, right? Like accounting and finance isn't my strength. Like, I don't naturally love numbers. However, I got my MBA because I'm like, I want to be good at numbers. I want to be good at budgeting. I'm going to learn about the income statement, how that speaks to the balance sheet. How does it speak to the cash flow statement? You know, like all the retained earnings, like all that stuff speaks to each other. I want to be able to look at the numbers, but I had to be able to face my fear and push into that fear to be able to walk away on the other side of the story.
So for you, trying to inspire the next generation of senior healthcare entrepreneurs or just healthcare entrepreneurs, the show is the CAREpreneur Show for the fact that what we're trying to do is inspire more people to get involved in healthcare. Because I just saw a study the other day, and it was saying 63% of like the nursing workforce was quitting this year, you know, and like it's like who's replacing those jobs. So like from an entry level position to the like healthcare administration side, you know, it's like how do you inspire the next generation of people to get interested in a field that's like 24/7, 365. Healthcare does not stop. You can't turn it off. You can't take a break from it. So how do you inspire the next generation to get involved in a field like healthcare?
Correct. I think one reason how I can inspire is also from my own journey of how you lead. You lead with heart and you lead with passion, right? When people feel energized and you care for your employees or you care for your staff or your nurses or your cooks or your doctors and surgeons, when you care for them and you create an atmosphere where we want to lean into their conversations when they have complaints, we're actively listening to what are those complaints, how do we improve? We ask those types of questions. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? You're creating a culture where you're creating a culture that's open and outward, where people feel like their voices are being heard. And for the next generation, like it's the same thing. You have to lead with your heart. Your heart and your brain are like 12 inches apart. Let your heart infuse your brain with the right decisions, and that will lead you in the right spot. And you never forget your why. Your why is what's fueling your actions, and your actions impact outcomes, and your actions then also have consequences. So you have to be cognizant of what you're doing, what you're saying, and who you are around to protect your brain and to protect your heart.
Wow. Wow.
So.
You go, girl. Preach it.
Oh, my.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to contribute to this conversation? Any questions? Any comments?
Yeah.
Any ideas that you would like to share as like one last parting gift?
I just want to echo, like, you know, right? Like, I don't live in your shoes every day, but it has been a joy to also see your employees be able to respond to your reactions on different things because your employees love working with you. And I think that's a testament to great leadership. And so as your sister, but also as your biggest cheerleader and supporter too, it's an awesome thing to see because I get to see you walking your leadership style in your everyday work. And I got a taste of it today, but like, I think that's really incredible. So
I got a long ways to go. I'm still learning, you know.
I'm
just grateful.
There's many books behind us.
I'm just grateful that they're hanging in there with me, you know. Thanks, Drag. Thanks for being my friend. You know, so I got a few friends, you know.
They also think you're cool and hip.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Dre's shaking his head. I don't know if he thinks that or not.
Okay.
He thinks I'm lit.
Well,
dope.
oh, actually, Dre does think you back in the day that you.
Dre, back in the day. Where's this going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loved your curly hair and thought you looked like Justin Timberlake. And I kid you not, growing up, everyone always said the same thing, that you look like little Justin.
Yeah, little JT. JT in the house. Dude.
But he can't sing, people. He can't sing.
Hey. You know, you can't dance, you know.
Nor can I sing, but I can admit it. That's the first step.
That is the first step to getting help. Is what is that? In AA, is
first step is always admitting that you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you can admit that.
Oh, let me tell you, I try to sing. All I can sing is "Happy Birthday."
That's good. That's good, guys. That's good.
My extent.
Well, I'm so excited for what is coming next. How can people follow you? Because you have quite the presence in
Yeah.
different ways.
Yes.
Kaitlyn Chana Enterprises. You can hire this girl to be your MC. I tried to. She's hard to book. You got to book her in advance because she wouldn't even come to.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to.
kidding,
I had finals during
I
that time.
know.
Yes,
you had a
yes.
legitimate excuse.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But
Obviously.
if you do have seriously though, if you have an event and you'd like for her to come MC it, she's emceed Coca-Cola events, really national conferences and some incredible events. She's a fantastic speaker, as you can tell, way more eloquent than me. I gotta stand straight and I can't say I gotta talk, I gotta speed up I gotta enunciate more, but articulate. There we go. Yeah,
I slurred some of my words earlier.
that's all right. You're still 10 times better than me. Next to me, you look great. So,
No.
so, anyways, but how could someone find you?
Yeah, so I'm on the main social media channels that you are too. So like obviously Facebook, social, LinkedIn,
Is
Instagram.
there like one place they can find
at
you?
Kaitlyn Chana,
Or
or
just-
even the best way is KaitlynChana.com.
KaitlynChana.com.
Yes.
So thank you for inspiring the next generation of healthcare entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs and just healthcare leadership, and being an inspiration in a lot of ways. I look up to you. I'm excited for this next journey that you're about to go on, and I look forward to an update once you go on this next journey. We can finally reveal what is
What state I'm going to.
the next step is. Yep, it's a
Yes.
state I'm familiar with, believe it or not.
I know, crazy enough.
Wow.
That's a fun
Guesses?
tease. Look at that.
Guesses, anyone?
Hello.
Anyways. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for joining me and my wonderful sister Kaitlyn Chana today on this episode of the CAREpreneur Show. We'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show some love. And you know what to do. Let's get back to work. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it this far. If you'd like to watch last week's episode, click here. If you'd like to watch more exciting content on Senior Care, click here. If you'd like to learn how to open up your own adult daycare, assisted living, or home care agency, click here, chrischana.com. This is for all those senior care entrepreneurs out there. And let's get back to work.